This horror story is about a woman named Miss Prow who shared her experience with us in her own trembling voice. What follows is her account, as faithfully as memory and fear will allow. It happened 22 years ago, in 2003, in a northern province of Thailand, where streets meet at a haunted angle and the wind carries temple bells through narrow alleys. Miss Prey worked as an eyeglass saleswoman, shuttled from branch to branch by company policy. When the transfer order came, the company provided housing, a single, narrow shop house at the very end of the row. The place sat at a three-way junction, facing an old temple whose cracked stupas leaned like tired sentries. Darkness pooled there faster than anywhere else. On either side, empty buildings pressed in, their metal shutters down, their windows sightless. Only the third floor of that end unit still held human breath, hers. Behind the store counter, the corridor opened into the spine of the house. There, rooted in the earth like a verdict, stood a banyan tree. The previous owner had built the walls around it, even leaving the roof cut open so the crown could force its way into daylight. You had to pass beneath its folded roots to reach the stairs, and the altar shelf beside them, half swallowed by trunk and shadow. Every night the banyan exhaled a smell like old coins and rain. The staff quarters were on the third floor, split into two thin rooms by a single sheet of plywood. No fan, no television. The window in Miss Preo's room opened toward the temple, and the broad hands of a Bodhi tree reached across the view, tapping the glass when the wind turned. Because the mall shop closed at 2100, she and her coworker always returned after dark. The neighboring units were lifeless. The hallway lights flickered and died. Whole blocks seemed to hold their breath. They entered together, tea in hand, because courage by halves was still courage. At first, nothing more than a mood, the sense that the stairwell watched, that the air thickened near the altar niche, that something on the landing listened from the blind corner. She told herself fatigue explained everything. One night she waited alone at the ground floor entrance for her coworker. Looking up, she saw a silhouette leaning halfway out of the third floor window. A person, upper body hanging into the dark, head turned down as if studying her. The figure swayed once, twice, and drew slowly back into the room. Annoyed, she called her friend. A shape approached from behind instead. Her coworker, arriving late, carrying groceries. No one upstairs, no lights, the window empty as a shut eye. Around this time, Mr. O began courting her, which made the nights less lonely, until the phone calls turned strange. Mid-conversation, Miss Preo's voice would twist into fury and spit. "Why did you do this to me?" before cutting the line. The next morning she confronted him. He swore he'd heard her shout the same words first, with the same venom. They compared call logs, stared at each other, and said nothing more. Something else had been on the line. And the footsteps began, heavy, deliberate, at exactly 23 o'clock. From the mezzanine, up the stairs. Thud, thud, thud. They always stopped outside her door. A murmur followed, a low, muddled whisper with too much anger in it to be a prayer. It happened every other night, precise as a clock. The atmosphere inside the room curdled. When she unlocked the door after work, a grayness slid over her like a second skin. Sadness without a story, worthlessness without cause, thoughts that brushed the lip of a balcony and wondered what it would feel like to fall. The moment she stepped outside the building, the veil lifted. Breath returned as if nothing had happened. One midnight between waking and sleep, she saw him, a man crouched in the corner, knees hugged to his chest, face buried, shoulders shuddering with grief. His whisper scraped the room. "Why did you do this to me?" He looked up, eyes wet and wrong, then lunged and grabbed her ankle. The yank was violent enough to jolt her halfway down the futon. She woke gasping, heart rancid. The next day, Mr. O noticed the marks, bruises blooming green and purple around the print of a hand on her calf, thumb distinct as a signature. He pressed his palm over it. It matched too well. At 5 p.m., another vision came, as clean and detailed as daylight. She saw the same man stand beneath the ceiling hook where a fan had once hung. He looped a rope and stepped into the noose. His feet kicked, then slowed, then stopped. Time passed in a foul wind. When the rope gave, his swelling body fell heavily, landing exactly where her mattress lay now. A wet, sick sound, then silence. She woke already standing, already moving, crossing the hall to her coworker's door, with breath that wouldn't catch. Her friend let her in without questions. She had her own unease, her own report. Someone sometimes stood outside her bathroom at night, waiting without knocking. That hour, the footsteps returned, closer than before, heavier, thud, 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 and stopped outside Miss Prey's room. The whispering rose into a ragged mutter, then turned toward them. The steps came to this door instead. The doorknob twisted hard. The latch rattled, gung gung gung, fast and angry, metal bucking in its seat. A voice, the same corrosive phrase over and over, tore at the wood. "Why did you do this to me? Why did you do this to me? Why did you do this to me?" They clung to each other and sobbed soundlessly, because who else could be entering? No one had a key but the coworker. The noise stopped, as if